How do I know if some verb is irregular or
Yeah, you don't know instinctively what you have to do. Fernando, you have to get a list, okay?
Mhm.
You can download a list from the internet. All you need to do, let me just close lesson 12 here. Let me just close this. All you need to do is, I'll put in the chat box. I'll put in the chat box. If you put this into Google, English irregular. If you just put into Google English irregular verbs, okay?
Mm.
It will give you there's lots of different sources of this list, but what it will normally give you is the verb in its base form. It will give you the past tense, and it will give you something called a past participle, which you will need a little bit later on at a next level. Don't worry about past participles yet. The most important thing is the past tense. So unfortunately, we don't know instinctively if a verb is regular or irregular. Normally, we only find out when we try to put an ed on the end of it to make it past tense, and then someone corrects us, okay? Someone says, oh, no, that's not the past tense form of that verb. So unfortunately, it's not something where there's no rule, for example, where you can identify a verb as being past a regular or an irregular verb. You have to find a list of irregular verbs, and you have to learn it, okay? So if you look up on Google English irregular verbs, it will give you a list. There are probably, I would say it's about maybe 6 pages long, if not more. It's probably somewhere between 5 and 8 pages of verbs that in English, that not all of them are verbs that you will use every day. Not all of them are common verbs. Some of them are really obscure and you may never use them. But you know, once you weed out the ones that you don't use on a regular basis, you will find that there's probably about 4 pages of verbs. The other thing to remember as well, Fernando, the verbs that you tend to use more commonly on an everyday basis, those are the ones that are going to be irregular, okay? So it pretty much is, I would say it's pretty much the same as in Spanish. If you use a verb on a daily basis in regular speech, chances are that it's irregular, okay? So the most common verbs tend to be the irregular past tense ones. But once you start learning your list, pull your list off Google, start learning it, and after a while, the ones that you use on an everyday basis, you will get to know them in the past tense. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's review. Questions. This is how we ask questions. We know how to do it in the present tense. Let's review past tense questions. Now, in the present tense, we know that we have to use do or does, okay? Do you cook every day? Does your mom cook Mexican food? That's in the present tense. In the past tense, we just use did. Doesn't matter if it's third person singular, doesn't matter what the subject is, you always use did, okay? So it's easier in that sense, in that respect. You don't have to remember, oh my God, if I say he or she or it, I need to use does. For all of them, you use did, okay? So did I, did you, did we, did they, did he, did she, and of course, did it, and then the main verb. And your main verb never changes. It doesn't change. And even in the third person, even in the past tense, it stays in its base form, in its original form. Okay? So let's ask each other some questions. I'll start. Did you say that you were from Mexico, Fernando?
Yes, I am from Mexico.
Good, excellent. Would you like to ask me a question now? You can use any of the verbs on this list or any other verb that you want, okay?
Okay. Uh, um,
Would you like some time to write some questions down?
uh, no, I'm asking you the same question. Did you say where you from?
No, I didn't say where I was from. I didn't say where I was from. I am actually from a small island in the Caribbean. Have you heard of the Caribbean?
Caribbean.
Uh-huh, El Caribe.
Oh,
Yeah,
see.
yeah. So
Yes,
I'm from a small island in the Caribbean called Barbados.
Barbados.
Did you ever hear of Barbados?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Not a lot of people have heard of it. Um, I speak English as my native language, but I also learned Spanish and French when I was very young. So I speak Spanish and French, but English is my native language. Okay. All right. Did you come to the United States 2 years ago?
Yes. I went to the United States 2 years ago.
Uh-huh. So you would probably just put that come into the past tense. And that is one of those unfortunately, that's an irregular verb as well. So you would just say, I came to the United States when I was, I came to the United States 2 years ago. Okay. Um, your turn. Would you like to ask me a question?
Um, do you do you play some sports?
Um, yes, when I was, I would say when I was younger, I played tennis a lot. I played a little bit of netball, which is a bit like basketball, but for girls. But mostly tennis. I played a lot of sports when I was younger. Did you look online for schools when you were thinking of taking English classes? Did you look online?
Yes, I did. I look uh, uh, 2 or 3 schools, but
Excellent.
I'm my work is 15 minutes uh, ride in my bike.
Okay. Uh-huh. Okay.
The school is I don't know 7 minutes when was open.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So
So where it was before, it was 7 minutes from your job?
no, for my apartment.
From your apartment. Oh, 7 minutes on your bike.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. So that would have been convenient.
Yes, and I say, oh, it's very close. So,
Very close. There you go.
and here is my school. So I'm here.
Of course. Now it's even closer because it's on the computer.
Yeah, only tell me the school is gone.
Uh-huh. Yes, indeed. Okay. So would you like to ask me a question now?
Uh, did did Ernie tell you how many people are in this class?
Uh-huh. Yes, he told me how many people are in the class. He told me there were maybe 2 or 3.
Well, now we were 2,
Uh-huh.
but we were I don't know 2. A month ago we were 3 now.
Oh, okay. So one person stopped coming to class.
Yeah, she tells she needs to work.
Okay, yeah. So she said that she needs to work. Yeah, she said that she needs to work. Or you can say she told us that she needs to work. So yeah, so we should probably have looked at the past tenses of these verbs, just to make sure that we're happy, because if someone asks you a question with these verbs and you need to reply yes, or you need to reply in the affirmative, you will need to know what the past tenses of these verbs are. Yeah. Do you know what the past tense of pay is?
No.
No. This is one of those verbs. It is kind of irregular. It's irregular in the way it is spelt, but not the way it is written. Okay? Sorry, not the way it is said. So, past tense of pay, and if you can make a note of these, please, in your notebook, is paid. So it sounds as if you just add ed, but what you're actually doing, Fernando, you're dropping the y and you're adding I instead of the y, and then you're just adding a d. So in this sense, it's irregular, okay? It's irregular because it's spelt completely differently from what you would expect it to be. But in pronunciation, it sounds as if you're just adding a D. Yeah, paid. So if I said to you, did you pay for the groceries in your apartment last week? You might reply, yes, I paid for the groceries. Okay. Past tense of look. Look is a regular verb. So you just add ed. Past tense of look is looked. Just add ed. Past tense of tell. Tell is irregular. Okay, tell is irregular. So past tense of tell is told. Ernie told me there were 2 or 3 students in the class. Past tense of say, said. It's a little bit like pay. It follows the same pattern in terms of how it's written, but it's pronounced slightly differently. You wouldn't say said, you'd say said. Ernie said he couldn't come to class this week. Past tense of come is came. Come is an irregular past tense, okay? When did you come to the United States? I came to the United States 2 years ago. Did you come to class last week? Yes, I came to class last week. And then finally, fix, past tense of fix is fixed. So fix is a regular verb, okay? Just add ed. So those verbs in their past tenses are all in the chat box. Can you see them okay, Fernando?
Yeah.
Excellent, okay. I know sometimes the chat box doesn't work too well when, if someone has a tablet, sometimes they have trouble seeing the chat box.
Yeah, I see him well.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So did you fix your bike the last time it broke down?
Yeah, I fixed my
Fixed.
bike
Good.
when was flat.
When you last had a flat. When you last had a flat tire.
Yeah.
Excellent. And you can ask me one last question now too.
Oh. Okay. Did you say Ernie doesn't come just this weekend?
Yes. I said that Ernie will come next week. Okay. I said that Ernie will be back next week. And don't forget, Fernando, when you are asking questions in the past tense, you can also use question words, okay? In addition to your did you can also use the words. Do you remember what your question words are?
My question, do you say Ernie?
No, sorry, your question words. So, what, where, why, who, when, and how. What, where, why, when, who, and how. I've put those in the chat box to remind you. So, pardon me, you don't necessarily need to start your question with did. You can start your question with any of the question words, yeah? What did you fix your bike with last time it broke down? Where did you say you were from? Why did you come to class at the language school? Who did you tell your secrets to when you were younger? When did you come to the United States? How did you pay your utilities bill? How did you pay for your rent last month? Okay, so you can use your question words in addition to did in order to ask questions in the past tense. Okay?
Okay.
Exactly like in Spanish. Oh, okay. So these are just a few notes with regard to did in the past tense. You obviously change your do and your does to did. You don't make any changes in the third person singular. The subject comes after the did, okay, or after the question word plus did. And then the most important thing to remember is your main verb. In this case, pay, look, tell, say, come, fix. Your main verb stays in the present tense. It does not change in the question. Okay, any questions about that, Fernando?
So the only thing it changed is did.
Exactly, exactly. The only thing that changes is did. That's it.
Okay.
And of course, you know, if you ask a question in the past tense and your answer is a positive answer, then you need to change to the past tense form of the verb, of the main verb, okay? For example, did you pay for the groceries last week? Yes, I paid for the groceries last week. Okay. This is so different from Spanish. I'm sorry. All right. Let's review the past tenses of these verbs. Past tense of happen.
Happened.
Good. Past tense of call.
Call it.
Good. Past tense of ask.
Asked.
Good. Past tense of go.
Went.
Excellent. Past tense of have.
Had.
Excellent. Past tense of be. Be careful.
Was. Were.
Excellent. Well done, Fernando. You didn't fall into the trap. All right. So when you answer a question in the affirmative or in the positive, yes, saying yes, you simply use the past tense form of the main verb, okay? Regular verbs end with ed. Irregular verbs have their own form, which you have to learn, okay? And these past tenses, it's worth pointing out, it does not matter what the subject is. These do not change. So it's not like Spanish where you have to learn a different form depending on the subject. These are all the same for all the subjects, okay?
Mhm.
For example, the verb call in the past tense is called. I called, you called, we called, they called. He, she, it called. It's the same form for every single subject. Okay?
Okay.
Easy
Mm.
in theory. Okay, so what you're going to do for me now, Fernando, please, I would like you to write 3 sentences in the past tense using any of these verbs. Okay?
Okay.
3 sentences in 2 minutes should be enough. Okay? Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know when you're finished.
Mhm. I finished.
Excellent. Okay, would you like to read me your sentences?
Yeah. Okay. First one. When I was young, I had a dog called Tigre.
Excellent. Wow. You used 3 of them in that sentence. Well done, sir.
Hmm.
Impressive.
Okay.
Number 2.
I used to play football in in middle school,
Uh-huh. Good.
and last week I told my boss I had to leave early at work.
Excellent. Well done. That second sentence, you used a past tense form that we've not learnt yet. That's very impressive. I used to. That's a kind of more advanced past tense form, but that's, you used it correctly. Well done. Well done. Any questions?
Oh, the past tense of tall.
Tell.
Oh yeah, tall.
Yeah, the past tense of tell is told.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yesterday I told my boss I had to leave work early.
Okay.
Cool. Well done, sir. Any other questions?
When I say when I was young, it means when I was a child or
Well, it could be when I was a child, it could be when I was younger. Um, it has a very it doesn't have a definite time frame, okay? It could be when I was much, much younger or when I was a teenager, okay? It could be when I was 3 years old, when I was 15 years old. It's not that definite. So it basically means whatever you want it to mean, okay? So you can say when I was younger, I used to play basketball with my friends in the park. That that's obviously not gonna be when you're 3 years old, yeah, or when you're, um, 5 years old. You're probably gonna be a teenager if you say that. So it doesn't have a definite time frame. It could mean when I was a little boy, when I was a child, when I was in middle school, when I was a teenager, it could mean anything. So it means whatever you want it to mean. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, that's not very helpful. But it can mean either. It can mean when I was a baby, when I was a child, or when I was a teenager. Okay. In my case, it can mean when I was in my 20s, when I was in my 30s, when I was in my 40s. It can mean 50 years ago. So it basically means whatever you want it to mean. Okay. If you want to be more specific, you can say when I was, 10 years old, or when I was 5 years old. You can specify by age. You can say when I was a teenager. Yeah. If you want to be more specific. But when I was young, it's very general, very general. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Let's look at the past tense negative form very quickly before we break for bathroom break. The past tense negative, all you do is add a not after the did. Okay, that is it. That's all you do. You start with the subject, then you add did not, then you add the main verb in its base form. Do not change this main verb, please. This is just like in the question form. In the question form, the main verb does not change. In the negative form, the main verb does not change. Okay? All you're doing is adding a not to the did. So basically, I did not pay my light bill last week. You did not look very carefully at your homework. We did not tell the kids that there was no school next week. They did not say they were from El Salvador. He did not come to the party last Friday. She did not fix the broken faucet in the sink. Her husband fixed it. It did not snow last month. Now, did not, as you can see here, we can shorten it to didn't. Okay, and didn't is the form that we use mostly in conversation. Did not is the long form, didn't is the short form. Both are equally correct. It's just that didn't is more conversational. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Let's practice. So tell me, Fernando, did your boss pay you $1 million yesterday?
No, he didn't pay me $1 million yesterday.
Excellent. Well done. That's how you do it. Did Brad Pitt look at you today?
No, he didn't look at me yesterday today.
Good. Did your mom tell did you tell your mom a lie today?
No, I I didn't tell 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 a lie.
Today. I didn't tell. Don't forget that main verb stays in its base form. Yeah? Stays in the present tense. I didn't tell. Good. Did you say you were from Russia, Fernando?
No, I didn't say I'm more from Russia.
Did you come to my house last night, Fernando?
No, I didn't. I didn't go to your house last night.
Okay. And did your best friend fix your refrigerator last weekend?
No, he didn't fix my refrigerator last week.
Excellent. Well done. Good. Just one little issue with, let's look at the difference between come and go. Come and go, basically they work the opposite to how they work in Spanish, okay? It's a little bit complicated, but the best thing to do is stick with the verb as it is in the question, okay? Because if you start to if you start to think, oh, am I going or am I coming? I come towards you or I go away from you. If you start trying to think of it logically, you'll get confused in English because it doesn't work in English the same way it works in Spanish, okay? So instead of, I know that in Spanish it's much, much more logical, but English is not as logical as Spanish. So try not to think of it the way you would think of it in Spanish. Just use the same verb as they use in the question and you'll be fine. Okay?
Okay.
All right, because it can be a little bit confusing. It's like the difference between bringing and taking. Yeah, and it doesn't help the way that Americans use bring and take as if they're synonymous. So go and come is a little like that, but they do work the opposite way to how they work in Spanish. If it's any consolation, they're very confusing in Spanish for English speakers. Trust me. So if you just repeat, if I ask you, did you come to my house last night? If you just repeat the same verb in the answer as in the question. So, no, I didn't come to your house last night, you'll be fine. Okay? Just repeat what it says in the question and you'll be okay. Okay?
Okay.
Excellent, sir. You're working very, very hard on your own, you poor thing. So let's take a break, okay?
Okay.
How long does Ernie normally give you for a break?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. Well, it's now 2:28. I'll see you at about 2:40. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Welcome back. So let us start this section with a review of our past tense pronunciation, okay? So what is the past tense of work?
Work,
Good. What about watch?
watched,
Good. What about wash?
washed,
Good. What about talk?
talk, talked,
Good. And walk?
walked.
Good. So in all those cases, all those circumstances, Fernando, that ed is pronounced like a T, okay?
Mhm.
So verbs ending in the letters K, CH, or SH make the T sound in the past tense. Let's practice. Did you work yesterday?
Yes, I worked yesterday.
Excellent. Did you watch any movies yesterday?
Yes, I watched a movie yesterday.
Good. Did you wash your hands yesterday?
Yes, I washed my hands yesterday.
Excellent. Did you talk with your friends or family yesterday?
Yes, I talked with my mom yesterday.
Excellent. And did you walk in the park this week?
Mm, no, I didn't walk in the park this week.
Fair enough. No problem. Okay. All right. What is the past tense of these verbs? What's the past tense of clean?
Hmm. Cleaning,
Uh-huh. Cleaned. Cleaned. Yeah. Just add ed. What is the past tense of listen?
listening,
Listened.
listened,
Good. And what is the past tense of play?
mm, played,
Played. Well done. So verbs ending in Y or N make the D sound. Okay, the past tense make the D sound. Cleaned, listened, played. So let's practice. Did you clean your house yesterday or your apartment yesterday?
uh, no, I didn't clean my apartment yesterday.
Did you clean your apartment last week?
Yes, I cleaned my apartment last week.
Excellent. Did you listen to any music yesterday?
Yes, I listened music yesterday.
Excellent. And did you play soccer when you were younger?
Yes, I played soccer when I was younger.
Excellent. Well done. So let's look at the past tense of these verbs. What is the past tense of want?
Wanted,
Excellent. Well done. Rest?
present,
Excellent. Need?
needed,
Wait.
waited,
Good. And start?
started.
Well done, sir. Excellent. So basically, we can see that the verbs ending in T and D make the id or ed sound in the past tense, okay? We need to actually add that extra syllable and pronounce that extra syllable when, when the verb ends in T or D, okay? And this is the only occasion in which you pronounce that ed as an extra syllable rather than as just a letter, okay? So did you want breakfast yesterday?
Yes, I want breakfast. breakfast yesterday.
Wanted. Wanted.
Yeah, one.
Did you rest after work yesterday?
Yes, I rest after.
Tid.
Yeah.
Rested. Uh, did you need any help with your homework yesterday?
Um, uh, no, I didn't need help. Yes, I need help. I look.
We always need help with our homework. Did you wait long for class yesterday? Or let's say, did you wait for the bus yesterday?
No, I didn't wait for the bus yesterday.
Good, well done. And when did you start taking English classes?
Uh,
Online, let's say. When
I
did you start taking English classes online?
I started
Good.
classes online. I don't know, 2 months ago.
2 months ago. Excellent.
Am I right?
It's probably more like three, maybe 3 months. I started about 3 months ago doing English classes online. I think it was maybe even more than 3 months, maybe 3.5 months, something like that. Okay. So, what is the past tense of exercise?
Mm, exercise. Exercising?
Uh-huh. Exercised, exercised. Yeah. Just add a D. In this case, you're not adding ED, you're just adding a D. Because what you'll notice about these verbs is that they already end in E. Okay? So if the verb ends in E, if it's a regular verb, you just add a D. Okay? Past tense of like, liked. And what is the past tense of invite?
Bite,
Invited.
bite.
Invited. Invited. Excellent. Okay, so as I just said, if a verb ends in E, you only need to add the extra D, okay? And they follow the same pronunciation sound of the letter that comes before the D. Sorry, before the E. So in the case of exercise, for example, the last sound is an S sound. So the D is pronounced like a D. In the case of the like, the K sound comes before the E. So the D sounds like a T. And in the case of invite, because the last sound is a T sound, the ED is pronounced like an id. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Did you exercise yesterday?
No, I didn't exercise yesterday.
Excellent. Did you like the last movie that you watched?
Yes, I liked the last movie I watched.
Excellent. And did your coworkers invite you to go for a drink with them?
A drink?
A drink. You
Oh,
know,
a drink.
a drink. Did they invite you, or when was the last time they invited you to
Mm.
go for a drink?
Oh, I think they invite me
Invited
invited me 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Excellent. All right. Any questions about past tense pronunciation?
Well, I think I need to study.
Yeah, everyone needs to study this. This takes time, it takes study, it takes repetition, it takes practice. The most important thing to remember is that ED is pronounced as a separate syllable whenever there's a T or a D, okay? Other than that, you don't pronounce the ED as a separate syllable. You might pronounce it as a different letter. Sometimes you pronounce it like a D, sometimes you pronounce it like a T, but only if there's a T or a D at the end of the verb do you pronounce it as a completely separate syllable. Do you understand what I mean by a separate syllable?
Separate syllable.
Uh-huh. A separate, well, basically you're pronouncing the ed, okay? As opposed to just the d or the t, okay? You're pronouncing the ed. So here, for example, with these verbs that end in T and D, wanted, rested, needed, waited, started. Of course, some people say wanted as opposed to wanted, okay? It's more American to say wanted rather than wanted, but you know, it's neither here nor there. You can say wanted. Most Americans would say wanted. You don't even hear the T, okay? But wanted, that's two syllables, yeah? Two sounds, wanted, rested, needed, that's two sounds. Whereas in all the other cases, you don't pronounce the separate sound. Cleaned, listened, played, that's all one sound, okay? So only where there is a T or a D do you pronounce the ED as an additional syllable, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Wanted, rested, needed, waited, started. Okay. Exercised, liked, exercised, liked, and then invited. Now, every time you see that ED, you're kind of tempted to pronounce it like you're tempted to say exercised or liked, but not in this case. You only pronounce that ed when there's a T or a D at the end of the verb. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's review. These are some irregular past tenses. We did these earlier this class. So what is the past tense of pay? Do you remember?
Paid.
Excellent. Come.
Come.
Try again. These are irregular.
Oh, come, came.
Excellent. There you go. Came. Came. Well done. What's the past tense of tell?
Told.
Excellent. What about say?
Said.
Good. What about do?
Did.
Well done. Excellent. These are irregular past tenses, okay? Irregular past tenses. So let's put the most appropriate verb in the past tense form to fill in these blanks, okay? To finish, to complete these sentences. So yesterday I
paid.
Excellent. Excellent. Yesterday I paid the bills. Number two, the handyman.
Handyman.
Handyman is someone who repairs things that are broken. Normally in an apartment complex. So you can, it's another way of saying repairman, okay?
Okay. Okay, the handyman came last week.
Excellent. Number three.
I told the manager about the problem.
Excellent. Number 4.
He, he said
Mm-hmm.
not,
Yeah,
not to worry.
good.
I so I did worry or I
Did not
oh,
must be it. Uh-huh. So he said not to worry. So I did not worry. Okay. If he says not to worry, I'm not going to worry. All right. So yeah, this last one was a little bit tricky because it's in the negative. Okay. All right. Uh, let's do the same thing with these sentences. The verb that you need is going to be in parentheses. So just try to put it in the past tense. Okay.
okay.
Number 1, my boss.
My boss paid me yesterday.
Excellent. Number 2, my friends.
Came over to my house for dinner last night.
Excellent. Number 3, Tom.
Tom told me about the fire in the mountains.
Excellent. Number 4.
I already said that I will cook dinner.
Excellent. Number 5.
Uh, and in
Incredible. Incredible.
meteor
Mm-hmm.
shower happened last night.
Excellent. Well done. Number 6.
Mm, My parents called with some bad news this morning.
Excellent. Number 7.
They asked about
Good.
the exam.
Good. 8.
I I went to the movies to see Spider-Man last week.
Excellent. Number 9.
We had a lot of fun at the party on Friday.
Good. And number 10. Careful here.
Mm, They they were late to class.
Well done. You didn't fall into the trap. Well done. Excellent. Well done. Any questions?
Uh, no.
Cool. Okay. All right. Let's put these the same verbs. Yeah. We're gonna put them in the negative past tense. Okay. So we're gonna say did not, which is the same as didn't, plus the present tense form of the verb. So what is the past tense, negative past tense of pay?
Didn't pay.
Excellent. What about come?
Didn't come.
Good. Tell?
Didn't tell.
Excellent. Say?
Didn't say.
Good. Happen?
Didn't happen.
Good. Call?
Didn't call.
Good. Ask?
Didn't ask.
Go.
Didn't go.
Excellent. And you know, instinctively, especially if we're Spanish speakers, we want to say didn't paid. We want to say didn't came. But English doesn't work like that. Yeah. A lot of people say didn't went. That's not how it works. Yeah. We just keep that main verb in its base form. Okay. In that respect, it's easy. Easy. So let's fill in these blanks with the verbs are gonna be in the same order as they are in the table. Okay. So number 1,
I didn't pay the phone bill last month.
excellent. Number 2,
My friends didn't come to the party.
excellent. Number 3,
Um, the suspect didn't tell the police anything.
Excellent. Number 4.
My girlfriend didn't didn't say she was sick.
Excellent. Number 5.
The con- concert didn't happen yesterday.
Excellent. Number 6.
My boss didn't call about work today.
Excellent. Number 7.
My friend didn't ask me for the money.
Excellent. And number 8.
We didn't go anywhere for the 4th of July last year.
Well done. Well done, sir. Any questions?
No.
No. Good. All right. So let me ask you, did you pay $1 million for your shoes, Fernando?
No, I didn't pay $1 million for
Did you come to class in a limo?
No, I didn't come. I didn't come to class in a limo.
Do you know what a limo is?
Yes, a long car.
Yeah, it's a long, luxurious car. Of course, you didn't actually travel to class, but that's neither here nor there. Did you tell me that you were from China?
No, I didn't say I were from China.
Good. Did you say you were a famous athlete?
No, I didn't say I were a famous athlete.
Try that again. Make sure you get that correct form of the verb be. Did you say you were a famous athlete?
Oh, okay. No, I didn't say I was a famous athlete.
Yes. Well done. Good. Did anything interesting happen yesterday?
Interesting. No, it didn't happen anything interesting yesterday.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so you can say this, you can change this anything to nothing if you wish, okay? So you can say, and this is basically gonna be the same as it would be in Spanish. You can say, this is the easiest way to say it. Instead of anything, you will say nothing. It's a bit of a trampa. Nothing interesting happened yesterday. So you're gonna put the happened in its positive past tense form, okay? Nothing interesting happened, just add ed. And that's our negative already in English, okay? With anything, something, nothing, things work a little bit differently. Or the other way of doing this, if you want to put it in the negative form, you can say, I've put it in the chat box. You should be able to see it in the chat box. Instead of saying anything, you would say something interesting didn't happen yesterday. Something interesting didn't happen yesterday.
Okay.
Okay, so 2 things you want to avoid with something, nothing, anything. Remember that anything is generally for questions, okay? And you could use it for negative statements, very rarely. Generally, you just use it for questions, okay? And the second thing to remember is that you don't want two negatives in English. In English, two negatives make a positive, just like math, okay? So it's not like Spanish where you can say nothing interesting didn't happen. You can't say that in English. You have to say something interesting didn't happen, where didn't is your one negative, or you can say nothing interesting happened, where nothing is your one negative, okay? What you don't ever want in English is two negatives, not in the same sentence, okay? So be careful. You cannot say nothing interesting didn't happen. Unfortunately, English does not work like Spanish in that respect. So number 5 is a little bit tricky. Sorry about that. But it's basically I guess the correct point in time to think about the difference between something, nothing, and anything. It's a little bit complicated in English. Don't worry about it. You'll probably do that in a little bit more detail a bit further on. Okay, number 6. Did you call the president last week?
No, I didn't call the president last week.
Good. Did you ask me for money? Actually, I'll ask you about Ernie. Did you ask Ernie for money after last class?
No, I didn't ask Ernie for money last class.
Good. And did you go to Russia for the World Cup, for the soccer World Cup?
No, I didn't go to Russia for the World Cup.
Excellent. Well done. All right. So what you're gonna do now for me, Fernando, you're gonna make some questions to ask me, okay? I don't necessarily want 8 questions. That might take us a while. Maybe 4, okay?
Okay.
4 questions using these verbs, okay? Any 4, I don't care which. 2 minutes, please. Okay?
Okay. Okay, I got 4 questions.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's hear them.
Okay, did you tell me you you from like Barbados?
Uh-huh. Yes, I told you I was from Barbados.
Okay. Did you call some of your friends yesterday?
Yes, I called two of my friends yesterday.
Did you tell me you speak 3 languages?
Yes, I told you I speak 3 languages.
Did you did you go to Barbados last year?
Yes, I went to Barbados last year. Oh, it seems so long ago now. Oh my God.
Hmm.
I went to Barbados in November last year to see my family.
Oh,
Okay, good. Excellent. We've reached the end of lesson 13, Fernando.
mm,
Well done. Well done. That's a good thing and it's a bad thing because that means that you also have to do lesson 13 for homework.
yeah.
Okay? So please, yeah, do lessons 12 and 13 in your English book. You do have a book, don't you?
I had a book on my iPad, so
Oh, that's fine. Okay, good. And